Good early afternoon. We are live. You've joined us on the Blue Plate Special. I'm Andy Andrews. We're glad you are here. You have joined us on a great day. You've joined us on a great day. Scoot to your left a little. Okay. Matt's telling me what to do. Okay, Dave Huco, good afternoon from Minnesota. Heather Olson in Utah, you shared. We appreciate it. And like I say, you've joined us on a good day. Hey, Bonnie Nix, I'm seeing people out here in the studio. How are y'all doing? We have Gene McDonald today.
It's about time.
I know, man. You have been. I've been seeing your name.
I've been promising for years.
You have. I've been trying to get you here for years.
I know.
Oh my gosh!
I couldn't afford the plane ticket.
For those of you, yeah, right. For those of you who may not know who Gene McDonald is, those of you who've been lost in some time warp or something, Gene is like the bass voice of Gaither Homecoming, of Southern Gospel. I mean, at one point, the Oak Ridge Boys like broke Richard Sturban's knee so that Gene could go out with them.
Shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
I even gave him the bat.
Yeah. I mean, that's really true. That Richard had what was it, Achilles surgery?
He tore his Achilles.
And you wonder, with these star groups, where, what do they do if somebody? And so when Sturban couldn't perform, they called Gene.
Thank goodness.
Give me an papa mau mau.
Papa mau mau.
And the first time you did that with them, was in front of
President Bush and Miss Barbara. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. They were they were playing in Galveston at the theater down there, and so there was a box that President and Mrs. Bush always sat in, and he had just gotten out of the hospital and wasn't going to be able to go, so they just went by the house to sing for him a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh they went by.
Yeah.
You went by.
Yeah,
It was a we. It wasn't a they.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, Dina Kilpatrick. Good afternoon. Thank you for sharing. We've got a good day planned. And Bonnie Nix out there, I got my honey back there, and I've got it that you brought me from Japan. It's Japanese honey, and I don't share that with anybody. I keep it in my little office. I don't put it in the kitchen. It's unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, I wish you could have some. Linda Payne.
The cherry blossoms of it.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Have you had it before?
Well, I know that Japan is noted for cherry.
Okay, that's what you say. You weren't back in there stealing my honey.
Trying it.
For you. Linda Rogers Coleman. She says you'd have to be living under a rock not to know who Gene is.
Oh, you're very kind.
Listen, you need to go on iTunes and get some of this. One of the coolest things to me about knowing Bill and Gloria Gaither is getting to hang out with people like you. And to be on that homecoming thing and be able to sit up there with you guys and be backstage with you guys, because people, Austin and Adam, they're not particularly fans of gospel music, but they always say these people are so unbelievably talented, they could have done any kind of music. And
it's it's a family. It's definitely the cream of the crop, and that's when I was a kid, when I was in my 20s and 30s, and getting to do this with all the old boogers, and just, man, I was in awe constantly.
Well, we recorded a podcast this morning,
right?
So that'll be coming up, and I hate to like ruin a surprise that's on the podcast, but I've got to talk about this because I am still freaking out about what you laid on me earlier this morning.
Right.
Because we were talking, and I was just asking Gene about getting started, and I mean, he was with the Florida Boys, all these people, and he said, yeah, I used to be a tenor. I mean, what? Because Gene is he's like the base of Southern gospel, I mean, and he used to be a tenor. And so I'm thinking maybe a tenor like Dwayne, who
Right.
a lead.
Right.
But then you played me some music, and you were like this high screaming tenor.
I tried my best. Back in that day, I wanted to sound like Vestal. So,
Well, how could you sing that high and then sing that low? But you know what? Guy Penrod, I knew Guy when he sang on Crook and
bass.
Chase.
Yeah, he was
and
singing.
He was the bass.
That's right. That's what always freaked me out whenever I saw an old Crook and Chase and saw him, and so I asked Woody. I said, "What did he sing?" He said he was a bass singer. I said, and here he is singing as high as he did on Gaither stuff.
Yeah. So how did you go from singing that high?
Puberty hit really quick and really fast. Between my junior and senior year, I went from 5'8" to 6'2" in about 3 months, and my voice dropped exponentially.
5'8" to 6'2"?
Yeah.
6 inches in 3 months?
In 3 months, sure did. My mom would roll my britches down and safety pin them because I was growing so fast. So it would change from, I didn't wear 32 length anymore. Or 29 length.
Good grief.
So-
Did people just,
My sister
in
did.
3 months, there's people that you see that you hadn't seen in 3 months.
Right.
Did they freak out?
My sister was a summer missionary in West Virginia, and so we went to see her. We went to the World's Fair, in Knoxville, and then we went on up and saw my sister. And my sister almost didn't know who I was because I was so tall, and she was taller than I was whenever she left. Believe it or not.
Good grief. What kind, Marcy Taylor, in Pasco, Washington, it's 102 degrees today. She always gives us our
102.
weather report in Pasco, Washington. And Shirley Greenfield, Amarillo, she said, Gene is one of the greatest and a nice guy on top of it.
Oh, you're very kind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What kind of music do you listen to or do you like if you're not? Because I don't know if you listen to gospel music because that's your job, but
I do listen to a lot of gospel music. I listen to a lot of older gospel. My dad sort of trained me into all that. And then I listen to 70s on 7. I love good 70s, because I was a kid of the 70s.
see, I like
guess.
70s
So,
music too.
yeah. That's
80s music, that was just the worst.
I believe it was getting there. Yeah.
It was just it, and now
I was into the harmony of Kansas and Boston, and even AC/DC had harmony,
Right.
and so then you started getting into the soloists in the 80s, and they lost the harmony. So that was my thing. I would listen to that stuff and lady, da 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 da.
yeah. Who's that? Little River Band?
Yeah.
Yeah, Little River Band.
Yeah.
Little River Band has some
Merle
great stuff.
Haggard,
Yeah.
I loved Merle Haggard. That red bandana tied around your auburn hair.
If we can make it through December,
Yeah.
everything's gonna be all right.
I don't know.
Yep. And do you ever have who like stops in your brain? You know what I'm saying? Like an earworm. I mean, who do you hear do you ever hear a song and you just know you're like, oh no, please, no, I don't want to hear this because
Yeah, Elvis. I was a huge Elvis fan.
Polly
So.
and Dan Stone, my preacher, are big Elvis fans.
Oh yeah.
And I'm always, I always kind of tease them because I I like Elvis too, but they don't know how much I like him.
Right.
Okay. So, because they like him so much, it bothers me. You know, and so I always
Right.
tell Polly, I say, well, you know, if Elvis was still alive, he would be doing Krispy Kreme commercials in Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly,
He would
exactly.
not. Oh yeah, Elvis would be Engelbert Humperdinck.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be famous. He'd
Exactly.
be Engelbert.
Yeah.
No, he would not. And so Polly hates it. I'm gonna show you what I do that she hates. She hates this. I'll say, Scylla, bring me my pills and my jelly donuts, baby. She hates it. She hates it when I do that.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
You know, we were sitting at the table with Jason and Shelley Crabb and Jimmy Fortune. You know,
Right.
Jimmy, the high
Oh,
tenor
yeah.
from the
Statler
Statler Brothers.
Yeah.
And Jason said, I think Elvis is still alive. I think he's still alive. And Polly goes, oh, Jason, he's not. No, he is. I think he's still alive. And Jimmy Fortune leaned over to me and said, he's not. You know how I know? I said, no, how? He said, because if he was still alive, they'd have killed that he died on the toilet thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, because you know he's dead because they let that stand.
But
Yeah.
J.D. Sumner said I know he's dead because I sung at his funeral.
Man, so you knew JD.
Oh, yeah.
I met
Oh,
him
yeah.
several times, but you know, it's funny to watch some of those old stamps things with JD
Yeah.
because you see a young Richard Sturban
Right.
in those videos.
Yeah. That's where he got his start. I mean, as far as besides the quartet that him and Joe were in Baltimore,
Right?
Keynotes, I think that's what they were. And so that's where he was found, was through all that.
So what Elvis thing sticks in your head?
I'm caught in the trap.
Does that get you?
You know,
Oh my God!
or in the ghetto. The
yeah.
background vocals of those in the ghetto.
You know who wrote that? That was Mac Davis.
Mac Davis, yeah.
Do you know? I heard Mac Davis say one day. He said that when he wrote that song, the first time he heard it was on the radio, and he said he heard Elvis say "in the ghetto," and he said it's not ghetto. It's ghetto. It's not ghetto. And Mac was real upset
Right,
that Elvis
yeah.
had said ghetto. And he said, but after it went
That
over,
first-
yeah,
that
he
first
said, I was
residual.
fine. Yeah, I was fine.
Yeah,
He said,
exactly.
I drove a Mercedes because
Yeah.
of that song. I was fine.
Exactly.
So, you know, I was, and then who wrote Kentucky Rain? That was Eddie Rabbitt wrote Kentucky Rain, didn't he?
Might be.
I think he did. Yeah, I think he did.
Oh, to think of that Elvis only got one Grammy Award, and it was before He Touched Me,
Yeah.
and all those
Like
songs.
Bill Gaither needs another credit.
Exactly. But I mean, seriously, to think that all the wonderful music that he sang, and all the number one hits that he had, and never got a Grammy except for his gospel stuff.
Yeah. Jerry Reed did Guitar Man
Yeah.
for him. And, but this earworm thing fascinates me because it's like, it's uncontrollable.
Right.
I was telling somebody this the other day. I was out on our back deck, and I was like by myself and messing with my tackle box, and we have, and the wind was blowing from the southwest that evening.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and just we are northeast of the Floribama,
Right.
which is the world's
Right.
largest honky tonk,
Yeah.
And so we're not They don't. It's not loud enough to bother us, but we can hear them.
When the wind blows
when
right.
the wind blows the right way,
that's right.
We can hear strains of this music coming across. And you know, if you had never heard of Floribama, the Floribama is this like, it's famous. You know, it's famous.
On the state line.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Buffett. You know, he stops in occasionally, but he's written a song about it. John Grisham has had it in not one but two novels.
Right.
And you know, all these stars will just drop in.
Yes,
and if they tell somebody they're going to be there. Kenny Chesney, a couple of years ago, said he was coming by on Saturday and going to sing a few songs. 20,000 people showed up.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's just crazy.
Right.
And so I'm sitting out there by myself. And all of a sudden I hear this roar from like 1,000 people, and then I can hear 1,000 people going, and I'll hang around as long as you will let me. I'm standing in the rain. You don't have to call me darling, darling. Never even call me by my name. And that's all it took. Because 10 minutes later, I was inside and I was washing my hands. And I was going, you don't have to call me darling, darling, never. I sang that song for 5 days. I sang it when I woke up at night. I sang it tying my shoes. I sang it getting a shower. I sang it driving to work. I could not get that. You know, I had to go, darling, and it drove me crazy.
Right.
Have you ever had one that's like gotten you that bad?
Mine is consequences of like what you're doing or that kind of stuff, and you'll think of something and that song will come, and she was hotter than a $2 pistol, or something like that. You know, just stupid stuff runs in my mind.
Do that again.
And she was hotter than a $2 pistol.
That's a George Jones song.
She was the fastest thing around.
George Jones.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
All right, do it one more time.
And she was hotter than a $2 pistol.
So I just wanted you to do it 3 times, so you'll be doing it the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
That, one time, Wreck of the Emmett Fitzgerald got on my mind. And I carried that for like 4 or 5 days, and then I finally got it off my mind, and then I told somebody a couple of days later, man, I am so glad I finally got Wreck of the Elvis Fitzgerald off my mind. And I walked away from the conversation, went, a legend lives on from the ship on down. It's like, oh my God.
And so this morning we were coming in, and short people, ain't got no short people around here. So that's been running through mine all day.
Man, I had to play that song for the boys because they didn't believe there was really a song like that.
Exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, well, they wouldn't put it out today. But
Exactly.
Short people got no reason. I mean, oh my God. Yvonne Palmer, she says, hang out with some little kids. There's nothing like that Baby Shark tune to make you crazy. So, I've done some research on this, and scientists are kind of explain this, and it's this paradoxical thing, because you don't actually have to hear the song to stick it in your mind. You can just think it.
Right. That's exactly right.
Oh my gosh. So, Martin Simmons says, I produced a video for the Florida Boys in Rome, Georgia when you sang with them. And you typed in the lyrics for Glenn on his teleprompter.
I've a dog. Isn't that funny?
Do you know the scientists have also figured out what some of the top earworm songs are?
Uh-oh.
And so...
So you're fixing to mess me up for the rest of the day.
I'm going to mess you up for the rest of the day. But do you know, this was weird to me. One of the top 5, I just wrote some of them down, but one of the top 5, and I remember this, I didn't like the guy, because I mean, of course now this person Now, Boy George could walk down the street, you wouldn't look twice at him.
Exactly.
You know, it's like,
exactly.
yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen a million of you. But back when he came out, it's like,
Yeah.
what is this? But do you remember? So it's Culture Club. Do you remember the song Karma Chameleon?
Karma, chameleon.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh Lord, yeah.
Do you know what I thought they were saying? I mean, I was doing comedy back then, and I thought they were saying, become a comedian. That's what I thought they were saying. I thought, this is my song. But the song, that's an earworm song.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Come and go, you come and go. Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. And then we're probably going to destroy some people doing
exactly.
this. Beat It with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Is one. And I never really.
And see, I think of Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Me too. I never could understand those words anyway. Beat it. That's all I really ever got. One of the biggest is Journey, Don't Stop Believing.
Don't stop believing.
That's a huge one. That's a huge one. And there is something, and I read this in this science report about these earworms. There is an ironic, there is a, they call it an ironic process that runs with earworms. And the ironic process, let me see if I can get this right, is that if you decide not to think about it, first you have to think about what you don't want to think about.
Right.
And it stays in your mind that way. So if you wonder how that works, let me show you how it works. If you wonder how that works, right now, I'm going to ask you to decide not to think about who let the dogs out. Okay, so just don't think about it for a second. I'll give you time. Good luck with it.
Exactly. That's hilarious.
I hated that song.
Oh,
That was just, and of course every team that was the Bulldogs.
Right, exactly.
That,
that
when
was
the team would run out,
yeah.
they just thought we've hit the lottery. They did a song for us.
And seeing I was dealt like Delta Dawn. Delta Dawn, what's that flower you got on?
Yeah, that's one.
That
would kill you.
Oh yeah.
And I guess Elvira and Bobby Sue were kind of earworm songs.
Bobby Sue.
Yeah, those were earworm songs. Here's one. The Village People, YMCA.
Yeah.
I mean that one would get you because you'll go around there all day.
Young men.
See.
Yeah.
Queen had 3 of them. One was Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh. Anybody love me?
Yeah, and then we are the champions.
And then We Will Rock You. Yeah.
Oh, We Will Rock You.
We will
rock you. Yeah, that one will stick. So with country music, there was a couple that I toured for 5 years with Kenny Rogers.
Right.
And
Coward of the County.
That one never bothered me.
Really?
But Lucille got me.
Yeah.
Lucille got me, and I think part of it was because of a stadium full of people that were going like this.
Yeah.
Right? You make to find time to leave me, Lucille. Hold on the children, the cop, and I would, if I caught that, it would stick with me for days.
Mine was like Amanda.
Don Williams?
Light of my life.
Or who is that?
No, it was Waylon Jennings.
Waylon, yeah. He shoes me.
Hear that woman singing, "Light up my life."
Yeah. The other one, that there was anytime. Well, Kenny ended with this, whether Dolly was with us or not.
Right.
But Islands in the Stream.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the one that really tear you up.
Islands in the Stream.
That is what we are.
Out in between. You know who wrote that? Barry Gibb
Barry Gibb.
from the Bee Gees.
Well, that would make sense.
Why does that make sense?
Well, I mean, that just the Bee Gees,
Yeah, it does kind of sound like the Bee
Yeah.
Gees. Yeah.
the tune,
But there was one that Dolly did that would get on me too.
I will always love you.
No.
No?
Jolene, Jolene,
Yeah.
Jolene, Jolene. And I would go around for days doing Jolene, Jolene. I mean, it drove me crazy. I toured with Shaka Khan.
Really?
And so, yeah, I was like the only white person on that tour. I mean, on stage, off stage, the buses, I was the only, in the audience. There wasn't any white people in the audience. But that was when she had that big hit, and I don't even like that kind of music. And it would earworm me when she'd go, because they would wheel her out, and she would go, feel for you, feel for you, feel for you. And then that guy, it was the guy's part that would earworm me, because they got to come out and go, tell me that you love me, Shaka Khan, tell me that you love me, Shaka Khan. Feel for you, feel for you, tell me that you love me, Shaka Khan. And that's the part that would get me. I'd be walking around for weeks. Tell me that you love me, Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan, let me tell you, they're going down the street.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What about Christmas songs? Any Christmas songs get you every year?
White Christmas.
Really?
I mean, it's. White Christmas.
Who's White Christmas you like? That's kind of Bing Crosby.
I'm a Bing Crosby fan.
Yeah.
So anything Bing Crosby did was pretty darn good. And Dean Martin, I'm a huge.
See, I like Dean Martin because he always sounded drunk.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places.
Here's the Dean Martin song that gets me every year. And he sounds the drunkest on this. It's a marshmallow world, are you listening? When the snow comes to cover the ground. I mean, he just sounds like wasted.
And then I'll Have a Blue Christmas by Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
The one song that he was doing they say that he was making a joke of it. And it was his biggest hit.
Really?
That's what I've been told, that he was and just having fun, and they went all the way through it, but it was his biggest Christmas hit.
Do you know that Gordon Mote, I was looking at Gordon's credits. He's been on over 100 number one hits.
Oh yeah.
And 75 more that were in the top 10, and I was looking. He's played Barbra Streisand, Mick Jagger. I mean, everybody.
Right.
And I saw Elvis on there, and I said, "Come on, you're too young to have played for Elvis."
Exactly.
And he said, "Well, every time they remaster one of the
Right.
things in Nashville, they call him, and when they do that, they'll put the headphones on him, and he's listening to the original
track.
The original tracks. Yeah. And so he hears it when they stop and start, and he heard Elvis go, "Get that camera out of my face,"
Exactly.
I said, "So it sounds like he's there?" He said, "Oh yeah, it sounds like he's there."
Back in, I guess it would be 96, J.D. Sumner, they had an Elvis thing with the Memphis Symphony. And so it was the Sweet Inspirations and J.D. and a bunch of the band guys playing with the Memphis Symphony. And so they had a big screen on the wall and had Elvis singing, and da, 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 and so all the background singers they'd cut everything out except for Elvis's voice. And so you hear all this orchestration. Phenomenal. And it was unheard of at that time to see all that. So.
Have you seen that hologram that, what's her name?
Natalie?
No.
Oh.
This is, girl,
Presley?
No, the Titanic lady, Celine Dion.
Okay.
There's a hologram that she did a duet with, a hologram of Elvis.
Wow.
And If I Can Dream.
Right.
Go online and go on YouTube and do Celine and Elvis and look at that.
Yeah.
It's eerie.
Right. That's cool. That stuff is cool to me.
Jingle Bells gets me every year.
Yeah. Mama got run over by a reindeer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. But you know what it started getting me is Merry Christmas from the Family.
I don't know it.
Oh, come on.
A
Christmas song that, in fact, I think the Gaithers should do this because it's a Christmas song that starts with Mom got drunk and Dad got drunk. Mom got drunk and Dad got drunk at the Christmas party. Dang, dang, dang. We were drinking champagne punch and homemade eggnog. Little sister brought her new boyfriend. He was a Mexican. We didn't know what to think of him till he sang Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad. And it's like...
That's another one that gets you.
It's like carve the turkey, put the ball game on. I mean... That's
hilarious.
Yeah, I have to play that for you.
Okay.
It's one that'll get you, So, let's see, what is it? Marshmallow World. But there is the number one of all time. Number one earworm of all time. And it's a kid song, kind of. Or you heard it when you were a kid.
Right.
Any idea?
Picture pages.
What's that?
Picture pages, won't you get your picture pages? All you need's a crayon or a pencil.
I never heard that.
That was on Mr. Green Jeans, Captain Kangaroo.
Captain Kangaroo?
And it was Bill Cosby doing picture pages.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
Or what, one of these things look like the other. Da, 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 da. You remember that? That was on Sesame Street. One of these things look like the other. So.
Okay, I'll give you another hint. It was Julie Andrews that sang it.
I love Julie Andrews. So
Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins. Would it have been Mary Poppins or was it?
It's Mary Poppins.
Really?
The number one earworm of all time, according to scientists.
Oh, sugar go down.
No, that was
spoonful. That
was
Mary Poppins.
That was Sound of Music. Just a spoonful.
Oh yeah, that's
sugar
right.
makes the medicine go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Sound of Music. But here's the one. You ready? You ready? Do you know what it is? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious, if you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's it.
That's hilarious.
And you know what? It's funny that as crazy as that made-up word is, you almost can't find anybody today that can't say that.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Oh yeah.
That's hilarious.
So, do you know who sang with her in that song? Do you remember? Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke, yeah. Chitty chitty bang bang.
Chitty chitty bang bang.
Chitty chitty bang bang. Chitty chitty bang bang. Chitty chitty bang bang.
I love you. Yeah.
So a funny story about that was we lived in Missouri, and Blytheville, Arkansas was just south of us. And so our house was at their landing. It was a SAC base. So all that we ever saw were C-130s or B-52s. So that was what our house was, right in the landing path or the departure path of this Air Force base. And so I was 7 or 8 years old, and we're watching Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And then we go to church, and we're going to church, and this B-52 is landing. I said, "Look, Mom, there's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang."
Oh, my God. So what you got coming up? Where are you going?
We're in Texas in August, Gaither, and end up in Louisiana on that weekend. And then we're doing a cruise in November to Mexico and all that. So we're starting our fall tour the first week of August. So it's going to be good.
We're going to be on that cruise with you.
Yeah, come on.
I won't get off the ship in Mexico.
No, I'm not looking forward to that.
I don't do Mexico anymore.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I used to go all the time because people would book me to do dates and conventions down there. I don't do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah. When they put the mayor's head on the steps of the Princess Hotel in Acapulco, that did it for me.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah, I'm like,
well,
yeah, that's it.
We won't have to worry about going to Matamoros anyway.
yeah.
Monterey.
Yeah. I don't think they own that country anymore.
No, they hadn't done that for quite a few years.
There is a show on Netflix called Rotten, and it's about the production of different kind of foods and what happens behind the scenes. Watch the episode on avocados.
Okay.
It's because it's not about that the food is rotten. It's about something in the process with the
people.
And you watch what's happening with avocado farming in Mexico now.
Right.
It's crazy. Thank you for being here.
Man, I appreciate you letting me be here. It was fun. It's good to see you. And
I just you are always just my favorite, and so I just appreciate you taking the time to come. And
yeah, man, I would be here if I lived in Pensacola. We'd be in trouble all the time.
Oh yeah. And so one last question.
Yes.
On the homecoming tour of the Gaithers, who is somebody you really don't like? I'm just kidding.
I can start.
Could you start? Yeah.
Let me see.
That group of people is so great. I love being around them.
It's probably one of the biggest families that I've ever, I didn't have a big brother, but, me and Kevin and Reggie and Dina.
Yeah.
All four of us are the same age.
Really?
So we're all 58, and I'm the oldest of the 58-year-olds. So,
Well, I love that bunch. I just love that bunch. I was with Bill one day, and we had just talked to somebody, and I walked away and I said, "Hey, who is that? Who is that?" And he told me, and I said, "Oh, he seems like a good guy." And Bill kind of turned and said, If he wasn't a good guy, he wouldn't be here. He wouldn't
be here. That's the truth. It's amazing because we're all fighting for each other, and making sure that everybody's protected and covered, and somebody steps out of line that's in our camp or not in our camp, it's quelled pretty quickly by Big Daddy.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody has such respect for Bill.
Yeah.
That authority is gentle but firm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Man.
You guys
Thank you.
Go on iTunes, get these Jane McDonald collections, and we will see you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.